Welcome to this edition of Life Lessons, and today we're going to talk about shame and how we spend most of our lives running from it. We become stubborn because we don't want to face this ugly part of ourselves that we don't like, but it can actually be really beautiful and healing and push us out of our comfort zone, because when we can admit that we are wrong, when we can admit we don't like how we acted and how there is a part of ourselves that we don't really want to incorporate, that we kind of want to banish, that is when we can actually grow and really incorporate that part of ourselves without feeling like I'm all just like a bad person, and I think that's what happens is we decide that if I accept this part, maybe it's ugly, maybe it's mean, maybe it's irrational, maybe it's not very nice to other people, then that means that's all of who we are. And we have to get out of that black and white thinking. It is not helpful, and it's just not true. There are good parts to everybody, or mostly everybody, I want to say, and I think that if we can just admit when we're wrong and be able to face someone and apologize, that's part of rupture and repair, which is another life lesson you should go back to. But this is all a part of the cycle of living a really healthy life, your highest self, and really figuring out what this experience means. And shame is a really big part of that. It's there for a reason. And yes, sometimes it's not a good feeling and we do feel like a bad person, but it doesn't mean that's all of who we are. And I know I spent years running from accepting this shame and keeping it banished to like basically a completely different part of the world, of my universe. And I would keep it locked up. And that's why I had a really hard time like moving forward in life. I honestly think that's part of why I got sick and why I had some depression and anxiety, is I just didn't accept all of myself. So if you can really sit with yourself and be honest and be like, yeah, there are things I'm not proud of. There are instances where I acted really shitty, but it's okay. That doesn't mean that that's every instance in my life. It just means those were those moments, and can I learn from them? Can I change and shift something so that I don't act that way again or do that thing again? That's how you grow and you learn from mistakes, So if you're always running from it and blaming other people or just ignoring it and acting like everything's okay, you're really not learning. And that is really the lesson of shame, is learn from it and really, what do you need to change and what needs to be healed inside you? Is it coming from a place where you got hurt and now you're doing it to others? Is it coming from a past life? Is it ancestral? Is it inherited? So these are all really good questions. These are all how you figure out who you really are and how you really want to be and call in that higher self. So if I can impart anything, it is to really just sit with yourself, be okay with yourself, and, accept that shame and learn and grow from it.